Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. It sounds like it could be a conspiracy. The Mud Flood was Armageddon. Why didn't anybody tell me? It was a conspiracy. They wanted to keep it quiet. Kind of a clickbait thing with the whole Joe Rogan, right? He's mainstream guy. He's their guy. So, but we're going to be looking at that video in particular. Fair use disclaimer to look at it without breaching his money making abilities. Let's look at some, see if I got any pictures saved here. What we're going to look at today. This is how we're going to close the show. Looking at this island. It's a mystery island. It's in Japan. They filmed the movie Skyfall here. Crazy. So this is their concrete work, modern concrete work, not the guy fishing. But look what they tied it into. That's a conspiracy somewhere. I want to know your favorite conspiracies. Did you know that coal production in Japan in 1974, 1874, look how small it was. That's how come this so fuzzy here. In 1890, it looks like it was up from like 40 million tons to 20 million tons to, ooh, 30 30,000 tons is a lot. 30 million would be a lot more. Wow. So that's a big jump in coal. They got a lot of it from this island. I thought that was interesting. I thought of Hughes, the province of Santa Fe, in November 2012. This town, yeah, they got ravished by the GMOs. This medical doctor, she thinks that if the corporations knew that the glyphosates were bad, they'd quit poisoning all the people in town. I don't know. They may or they may not. I hope you saw those. Salty, you're in this video here because you sent me an email and somebody else sent me an email, and they were exactly the same thing. But one was queued up to where I quit watching the video you sent me, went to check my other ones. It went something like this. I went to check my other one, and I had this one that said, "Hey, Paco, this reminded me of you." And it clicked on, and it was that thing. What's this one? Disturbing.
We are destroying these cows now to begin our ceremony, and they would say this publicly. I don't think that would go over well with a certain group of people. So maybe they already destroy the cows and already have their ashes in their
Somebody's talking about a red heifer, man.
whether the proximity of the hairs to each other disqualifies the cows or not. So here's the thing.
It's
They were told
disqualified.
anyway that two of the cows were disqualified because again, they began
Red heiferism.
But going back to the article and how different religious groups feel about this whole
The rabbi noted that articles and videos concerning the red heifer were seen on Arabic media. The Christians in America are waking up to their role and they are happy. The Muslims are as well, but they are less happy about it. Taking a hard time to realize, that that's a conspiracy to get people to believe that there's going to be a third temple implied in the Bible but not taught, and you better be on board. This is my thing. I'm going to look and see real quick. Is there any weather going down? There's going to be some bad weather from what I hear. This blood moon thing, man, that's a thing. 5 wise men prepping. Okay. Weather outbreak. It's coming. Adventism's dirty secret. I haven't seen this guy in a while.
That's what's going on here. Angels will precede the Son of God and make an announcement. They're going to announce before he arrives, yo, the king is coming.
3 trumpets.
And he's going to strut through like a boss. And then he's going to enter in with the saints and the martyrs, etc. And the dead are going to be raised, and it's going to be awesome.
Rapture.
The text does not say that the archangel is the one that raises people from the dead either. That's the other thing that they conflate.
That whole thing with the Freemasons, the advent of Adventism and how they became so popular in the flat earth movement. Mysterious. I showed this last night. It's left up because it's like they're God. They're singing, what was it? 29 minutes and 50 seconds, if I remember last night's video. And I usually am not going to embarrass myself too much. They're singing about this little light of mine.
It cannot be made sudden. We shall not move just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved for time.
Author and public health.
We're standing up for science. We're standing up for science. We shall not be moved. We're standing up for science. We shall not be moved just like a science. We shall not be moved just like a tree. Join the DC Liquor Chorus. Shine, let it shine, let it shine.
They're going to let science shine.
Everywhere we go, we're gonna let it shine. Oh, everywhere we go, we're gonna let
These are the people that are upset that they want to remove the homosexuals from teaching positions, and that Dr. Fauci wasn't lying and making money and just made up that whole 6 foot, 2 meters, just pull it out of a hat. So here's the 30 conspiracies. We're going to go over what they said, they thought, and what's left off. Okay, I'm going to spoiler alert. The big one that is left off is 9/11. They didn't talk about 9/11. If I was going to go over what's the big conspiracy theories that brought me into it, I would just say wrap the Clintons up in one thing. Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook was a big deal. The Boston Marathon massacre, that was a cover-up. The JFK thing, those are big deals. But let's just start. We'll look at them. So he's going to go with Mankind Reset. We'll look at them more in detail, but the Brain Universe Connection, and Ancient Nuclear War, Super Volcano Extinction, anyone? Telekinesis Arrest, not sure about that one. Erased inventions, the carburetor that could have got 60 miles an hour in 1964. That guy got killed. Ancient carvings, something there. Quantum AI multiverse, nothing there. End of the USA. Well, is that a conspiracy not secret anymore? All right, Vatican Secrets, lump that one. Gus Grissom, going back to the moon launch. That was fake. Yeah, they killed him. Bible psychedelics. The moon landing again. Hijacked cars. People dying in hijacked cars. The Ark of the Covenant. Cloward Piven theory. Anybody going to help me out on that? Joe Rogan's on their list. They talked about it. All AI is tricking humans. Telepathy theory, ancient civilization theory. That might be a little mudflip. Now, Post Malone, what is that? It's not Carjack Malone from Escape from LA, is it? Anti-gravity weapons, suspicious CEO death. No 9/11 yet. Neil deGrasse Tyson gets something. Cheating death theory. No 9/11, no Sandy Hook. Time travel theory. AI in 2019. Okay. Ancient psychedelics, not biblical psychedelics. They covered that. Asteroid mining. All right. All right. China's future theory. We'll pop in on all of them. And the Walt Disney pointing, smoking, not the Walt Disney could have been Adolf Hitler thing.
A couple of questions because one of our viewers wanted to know if you have a favorite dance to perform, and then someone else asked, do you know additional songs from your community?
I didn't really grow up on my reservation long enough, and so when I began dancing in 1972, this was considered close to being a lost art. There was a powwow that I attended in 1972, and there was a hoop dance competition, and
this man is a hoop dancing champion. And it's just funny because he's my age, and he's been searching for himself. He went to BYU. And his mom, quite a mysterious thing, sent him to school, said, look up this person and here's some white pants. You'll need him. And the rest of him is history. They taught him the heartbeat of the earth.
This because we like the sound, but a long time ago it sounded something like this.
I can't hear it
because we would often use ear hooves or other parts of the animal. We thought it was
he found his way. He had to go, who am I?
3 young men that come up on stage and they're holding these round things, these objects, and as they begin putting them down on the stage, without knowing it, my arms become unfolded. And now I'm sitting up and I'm trying to find out what they're doing because I have a real interest.
Because he's got, he's brought into it. Now you got to see this guy. Show us some dance moves, dude. It's the bird.
For me, so when 3 of them are up here, and I work with hoop dancers across the country, and usually the first thing that I spot is their hoops are way too big. They want bigger hoops because they think it's going to be a little easier, and it's really not. It's only a little easier when they do the first hoop. But I'm going to get set up here, and
now also this music, it seems like it's DJ style. I'm sure when he started it 50 years ago in 1972, when I was getting to be a teenager, getting ready to go, this is techno. This isn't the same. Somehow this music has changed. The 2-winged bird is going to grow. Keep growing. Grow the bird. 9-time champion Terry Godell. He was confused. Genius. Started college when he was 16 and baseball champion. Could have done anything with his life, but he met a girl that asked him, can you snap your fingers? Both of them at different times. You're my guy. We've been waiting for you. Go, little bird, fly. Make a ball. He gives a little history, and it is kind of fascinating about why they had to add the fifth hoop. Oh, he's got more than 5 now. Show me the 5. Oh, that's not 5. Is he showing off? He's the champion, the world champion. That's 5. Not Olympic rings, but everybody's got to find themselves. Some people find themselves in charge of everything.
And putting 2 and 2 together, because that would make you a conspiracy theorist. Just because he's connected to 2 of the most suspicious things in recent history does not mean the third thing is also suspicious. Even after these incidents occurred, Pelletier was still named chief of the Maui police.
What do you
And-
mean even after? It was because of.
That
It
was-
was, he's talking about Las Vegas. That was quite a devastating thing where they had this concert and it killed a bunch of people. And then they built the new Los Angeles Raiders football team on it. And then I think the spot where the stage is now holds the largest hologram in the world. Go.
what happened?
Piston was wrapping up a media briefing in Lahaina today while a man confronted him about the information being publicly released.
We have no idea if any of them are children. We have no idea.
That's independent journalist Nick Sorter. His
Cadavers are the Maui department, okay? The press show is over. Okay?
So he's not gonna answer my
He's done.
question.
Thank you.
Yeah, take pictures of me. There's no need for hacking. You're with Maui Police, right?
Yeah, he's done with the press
I
conference.
appreciate your patience. Sir.
Yeah,
Now get out of my way. Who are you?
with the Maui Police Department.
Okay, and what's my crime? You're literally pushing
The
me.
press conference is
I don't
over.
f***ing care if the press conference is over. Get out of the way.
Where are the cadavers?
You have the bodies. You know how many of them are children. How many children are dead? Step back, please. How many children?
How many children did you get by gunpoint for P. Diddy? But he's in charge of Maui. He's in charge of Las Vegas. That's not a conspiracy. I don't even think it makes the top 30. He did it.
With 89. So just understand what this thing is, because none of us really know the size of it yet. Everybody.
Yeah, and you're not talking because you got a death vow. They make them take death vows. I kid you not. Looking at my thing here. Flatsoid debunks this. Okay. I'll check it out.
Didn't know you emailed me. I'm not interested in what you've got to say. Whether you think that's very Christian-like.
So I was watching it, as you can tell, and I left off right here and said, "You know what? I'm making a video on these conspiracy things because it's what I do. I'm wide awake. I had one of those things that happened to me. It's not a charismatic experience. Something happened to me, so I had to lay down. I mean, I really had to lay down. When I woke up, I was watching this and I go like, wow, I'm late for my show. I can't get a hold of RJ, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Sergio sent me something. I'll look at it. Hey, I got another, said, this reminds me of you, Paco. Really? What is it?
Totally. The fact is, we're living in the days of Noah. Do you get it? So, how many righteous people are in this place? Get it?
Hey, Vara, I didn't know you emailed me. I'm not interested in what you've got to say, whether you think that's very Christian like me or not. I'm not interested in what you've got to say, bro. I can choose to ignore you or not, dude. And that's very Christian like for me. Absolutely. Do not be unequally yoked. I'm not being unequally yoked, dude. I'm not interested in what you got to say, bro.
Yes, Justin, it does say 7 days for the elect's sake.
And if you do, are you really making this place better? Guys, really think about it at its core. Is this of God? Is this biblical? The answer is no.
Why? Just because you say so.
Because there's no red heifers, man. There's no red heifers. Let's go back. Hey, you guys having fun? Did anybody put down any comments in the 9/11? Amen. So there's all these conspiracy things going on, man. First one, what is the mankind reset?
Display. Oh shit, there's this one. It's a third planet from that star there. They're just on the precipice of creating this thing. So let's go ahead and send our Tic Tacs over there, make sure it's happening. We don't want to destroy a planet if we don't have to. Oh yeah, it's happening. Get rid of that one. And then that's why that explains the Fermi paradox, is because anytime a planet is on the precipice of inventing machine intelligence,
Hey, look, that's you. That is you. You're a battery operated vortex. You eat food. Gee whiz. Here's the second one. Here's the second one. Brain universe connection. Look, that's Joe Rogan. He was famous way back when they pulled him out because he was refereeing mixed martial arts. And even though he's, 5'2", he looks normal. So they put him on there and go like, this is incredible. Let's do, and then they gave him another show like, let's eat bugs. And he's just always been there. He's going to always be there for you.
Or even a subatomic particle. He draws parallels between the structure of the known universe and neurons in the human brain, speculating that our universe could be a single atom within a much larger organism, one that exists inside another infinitely expansive universe. This concept hints at a potentially infinite and interconnected cosmic structure.
Yeah, which is weird that like the universe is so big we can't even wrap our head around it, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg is not even a good way to describe it.
You know what I'd like to do right now, if you'd let me, is what this theory should be called is the animal house. Giant's toe. Remember when you were a kid? Because this show showed boobs, so you watch it. Oh, I wasn't typing. I thought I clicked the thing. I did not. So what was the name of that movie? Giant's Toe. I'm typing a little faster because I know that I was making you go. Maybe they don't like the giant's toe thing.
That means that our whole solar system could be like one tiny atom in the fingernail of some other giant being. This is too much. That means that one tiny atom in my fingernail could be one little tiny universe. buy some pot from you?
Anybody agree or disagree with me on that one? I think that that's what they're trying to say. Okay, I thought it was a toenail. I thought it was a toenail of a giant. I didn't know. I thought it was the fingernail. Ah, well, it's all that keratin stuff.
It's a grain of sand. Maybe it's not even a grain of sand. Maybe it's an atom. Maybe it's not even an atom. Maybe it's a subatomic particle.
Maybe it's not a new conspiracy theory. Maybe it's something that when we all come to that conclusion, they want us to pat ourselves on the back and go, I got it now. Maybe I should be a hoop dancer. They got the family. They love the family. They love their children. But being a hoop dancer is not, and recognizing there's a great spirit in the world kind of goes for null and void when you compare it. It's like, and it married a spirit mother. Come on. Here's another one.
Possible that it was just sand over time?
Well, if you look at the tablets again, they talk about this war, right? And this war that occurred, there's a lot of wars, obviously, but this one particular war, it seems like the same one that damaged the area or the region of the Giza Plateau, also Mohenjo-Daro in the Indus Valley up there.
Right. It was the mud flood. It was the glittering sword. It was what the Bible says was coming. Hey, you guys that love God should run to the mountains because they're going to melt like wax. Micah chapter 1, verse 4.
Don't seem to be like chopped up.
No.
Did they have any evidence of stab wounds or anything on them?
They don't have any evidence of any injury, of any kind of attack or any cutting or like swords or anything.
They just all got cooked.
Right. And then
Yeah, then here's the super volcano extinction. That's another theory. You ever hear of that one?
Of a natural disaster with the potential to wipe out humanity. And to be honest, he makes a solid point. Around 640,000 years ago, one of Yellowstone's last major eruptions.
Sure. Just jump in on the 640,000 years ago, but let's don't talk about Sandy Hook, Boston Marathon Massacre, 9/11. Yeah.
Disaster or we're all going to end up killing each other.
I'm concerned with both, but I'm always concerned with things that people are dismissive of. Or
That away, Joe. And here's the other one. Telekinesis arrest. Is that the Minority Report thing?
Technology.
As the discussion on government control deepens, Joe and Sam segue into the topic of brain implants and chips. They explore the unsettling idea that a future could soon arrive where we're required to implant chips in our brains to perform basic tasks like transactions to function in society. The thought of how much control governments could wield once everyone adopts
How
these
much control do you think the government wants? Do you think they really are going out of their way to be involved with the ads that they sell on Facebook and X? Even YouTube, I guess they make money by selling advertisement.
chips is chilling.
What are they
And it's no
selling?
longer a question of if, but when, as Elon Musk's Neuralink has already entered the human.
I've heard of Elon Musk. He's a doge. Here's
He's got this
another
odd
one.
little
Erased
toroidal thing and then a
inventions.
bigger toroidal thing, and literally like a chalkboard. So I'm like, dude, what's going on? So I started talking to him about it. He starts explaining the technology and what he was doing. And like the smaller one had 300 foot-pounds of torque. The larger one had 2,000. And he was looking to develop it for rail cars, for semis, for cars, like, and on and on and on. He's like, yeah, the biggest problem is stopping it once it gets going, because the toroidal structure meant that the compression cycle.
Maybe they saved your life by not letting you have a 60 mile per gallon or a water powered or
Up
air
next, Joe
powered.
Rogan and Graham
Now
Hancock
here's
delve
the
into
ancient
Hancock's theory
carving
that the
theory.
mysterious iconography, the man between two felines, found in multiple places across the Middle East,
Sea lions, huh?
is unlikely to be a coincidence. They discuss the potential connections between these carvings and their deeper significance.
Oh, yeah, this
exploring
guy
what
has learned a lot from the mud flood theory, that's for sure. The gold and the giants.
they might reveal about ancient cultures, shared beliefs, and possibly even lost civilizations.
All right, that's their top 30. We also have the quantum. Of course, quantum math is a complete joke.
Power in computing is incomprehensible.
Because it is inconceivable. Incomprehensible, because if you ever stop to think about it and look at the Einstein's math and how he plagiarized, cheated, fudged the numbers, used constants when there aren't constants, why wouldn't it be incomprehensible?
What does that mean? The announcement led Google's already high stock price to surge, which isn't that shocking, but perhaps most surprising for us lay people that Google's quantum AI founder and lead Harmut Nevin said that the chip's performance lends credence to the notion that quantum computation
leads credence to, because they can't, you're never going to be able, you're going to go like, you just have to accept it by faith. Oh no, this is a conspiracy theory or fact. He's got something, he just loves his hair.
The most absurd and insane thing. It will be out of a fucking dystopian horror movie, and no,
Ooh, that's
it'll never
scary.
be, it won't be funnier than America, because we're a crazy country,
Crazy, wild and
full of
crazy.
crazy people, and everybody's just trying to suck the last few dollars out of this bloated pig corpse of an empire.
Well, they're not going to leave pennies on the table. They proved that in 9/11 when, trillions are missing and they're still trying to make a few million off of short selling American airline stock.
You will be dead.
You will be dead.
Dylan continues his rant. He argues that our generation may be the last to truly experience freedom, the kind where,
if that's what you want to call it. There's some freedom right there. I want to go to the beach. There was a time when it's like the ungodly men would sit back and go like, yeah, I got the second base today. That's not going to work anymore. Here's one. The Vatican has secrets. I'm shocked. Everybody be like, if I could just get in the Vatican basement for a half hour, then what? You can't even read Latin.
It's stunning, all the artwork they have. And they also have an Egyptian obelisk.
Yes, right
which
in
is
the
crazy.
center. And that obelisk, that courtyard is the same courtyard as Teotihuacan. If you look at Teotihuacan,
You mean the dimensions?
Not the
It's a
dimensions,
mystery.
but just
The
actual
world is a
shape of
mystery.
that courtyard, it matches the courtyard of Teotihuacan.
Blood flood
So
was Armageddon.
yeah, it's an incredible coincidence that they built it based on the Teotihuacan, where the Avenue of the Dead has those platforms, and then you have the Pyramid of the Sun on the.
Wow. Gus Grissom, his family's mad because he said, if we can't talk from our capsule to the space tower that is a mile away, how are we going to communicate when I am going 225,000 miles away to the moon? So they killed him. His family doesn't like it.
Intentionally.
I understand that
I
she
believe
says
her.
that. I understand
Yeah.
that, and I understand that why she would believe that. That makes sense.
Well, if her husband says CIA agents are messing around with the equipment the day before,
Mhm.
and he's dead the next day from faulty equipment, the CIA killed him. It's a pretty obvious conclusion.
It could possibly be that, definitely. But also, when you're launching rockets, a lot of people die.
They weren't launching anything. It was just a ground test of pressing buttons.
for context, Gus Grissom was one of NASA's original 7 astronauts, known as the Mercury 7, and a pivotal figure in the early days of the USC space program. As a skilled pilot and engineer, Grissom played a significant role in critical space missions. However, his promising career was tragically cut short in the Apollo 1 disaster of...
Because they killed him. They burned him alive. You don't want to have to hear about it. This is a weak theory.
Lion on the left, the face of an ox, and in the back, the face of an eagle. So much for the faces. The wings were spread out with the tips of one pair touching the creature on either side. The other pair of wings covered its body. Each creature went straight ahead. Wherever the spirit went, they went.
Okay, reading from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1 and 2, is not proving that he was doing drugs.
Everywhere.
Chapter 1 of the book of Ezekiel in the Hebrew Bible has captivated readers for centuries. Some interpret his descriptions as a possible account of an encounter with advanced spacecraft or extraterrestrial.
There you go. That's it. How about the moon landing? Short one, but...
Don't recall. And then Michael Collins, to fill in for him, to help him out, says, I don't remember seeing any.
Yeah.
Which he wasn't there. They were all three orbiting the Earth, so they had the same experience, but he forgot. So if you get the written transcript of that, the I don't remember seeing any, they change it to Buzz saying it. You see, lightning strikes twice in the same place. What a coincidence.
Woo! That's another one. Hacked cars. Now that one, I believe it. I believe it. That one kid that was in the Fast and Furious movies.
But understand that all of these things have
financial benefits, and then they use those perks you just mentioned to get you in. But
Yeah.
yeah,
somebody's making money.
I believe that it'll be mandatory, but for practical reasons, like this thing where the police want you and they have to chase you and you may get away, those days are done.
Yeah, they're just
You
gonna
see what I'm
shut your car off. Yeah.
your car is going to do what they
Yeah.
tell it to do.
Yeah.
You know, when you get an intelligent car and you say, you know what, I don't want to go to work today, take me to the beach. You could say, you know what, I'm going to take you to the hospital. You seem upset to me. We're going to have a doctor look at you. Ark of the Covenant, do they think it was a power supplier? That's usually where they go.
About how the Ark of the Covenant got there.
Right.
Different from the Ethiopian national epic, which is called the Kebra Nagast, the glory of kings. That's why I got into this.
Look at that. It's Ethiopia. What's all these white people doing in there?
Field. I was a current affairs guy, and Ethiopia was on my beat, and I just kept on coming across this story, and I realized it was central to Ethiopian culture.
Yeah,
and I decided to investigate it and explore it, and it led to The Sign and the Seal, which was published in 1992, and that's what set me on the path to Fingerprints of the Gods and everything that followed that.
Take a look at these images of the Church of Saint Mary of Zion. For context, the Ark of the Covenant, the sacred biblical artifact said to contain the Ten Commandments, is believed to reside in the Church of Saint.
This is the dumbest one I've heard yet.
It is.
Well, we know that I believe Ethiopia has a very strong claim to it, but that's all I can say because I've not seen it.
Phew, maybe it's got the Urim and the Thummim in it. Here's one. Does anybody know what the Cloward Piven theory is? That's a new one on me.
Body and the
I
United
think I've
Nations
heard the
as proponents
term.
of the idea.
Who do you think is implementing this strategy, and what are the conversations, do you think?
Well, it's not possible to deny that the Biden administration is implementing it because look, they went to they tried to fight Texas on securing its own border to protect its own citizens. That blew up. What was it? End of January? Is that when it all blew up?
Very recently, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty recent. And so certainly they are.
So there's this alleged conspiracy that a conversation went down something like that. This. Joe, did you know that people think you were a bad president? And Joe said, I was the president? No, I heard that and I thought it was funny.
We know historically that the Open Society Foundation or the Soros Foundation, which is Open Society, has been funding that and has been helping out. We know that the UN is involved.
You know that George Soros? He's Jewish, and he turned in other Jewish people to the Nazis for money. And he said it was the most exciting time of his life. So another thing about the AI.
When we say, well, ChatGPT doesn't know what it's saying, it's not conscious. We know it's not conscious because it's not programmed to have a consciousness. We are actually ignoring the other half of the story, which is that we don't know how human consciousness works. And we don't know how it develops in a child.
What?
Right? A child is exposed to a world of adults talking around them. And the child experiments first with phonemes and then words and then clusters of words and then sentences. And by doing something that isn't all that far from what ChatGPT is doing, it ends up becoming a conscious individual. And so
that's pretty speculative. Telepathy. Go.
Really fascinating, man, because it's a dismissed thing. It's a woo-woo thing.
Sure.
But if it's real, shouldn't scientists study it like it's real? And it seems like through scientific study, it's real.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, you've probably experienced it. I've experienced it.
I think it's an emerging part of human consciousness that we don't agree to or we don't admit to.
Joe suggests that one reason people.
Okay, there's another one. Here we go.
In Israel.
Ancient civilizations.
Hamas thing. And if I hadn't got there then, I wouldn't have no chance. Like right now, Israel's bombing Lebanon. And so it's a dangerous place. But Baalbek, if there was one example, one ancient site on Earth that is evidence of a lost, ancient, advanced civilization, and by advanced, I'm not talking about space lasers here. I'm talking about more sophisticated than what we were taught in school for the known capabilities. And
I like this one.
Stones that were ever quarried in human history, the largest stones that were lifted, stacked, and transported in human
They're
history.
still there. You know, and the ones that are in the Baalbek temple were moved a mile, and these ones were going to be put right by it, and something interrupted it. Could have been reset.
History and the largest stone columns in all of classical history. And we're talking, so the trilithon stones, 3 stones, 900 tons apiece or 800 metric tons. And they were moved a half a mile from the quarry. They were lifted and stacked approximately 30 feet off the ground. And when I say stacked, they were perfectly lined up.
Take a look at these images of some of the remarkable rocks at Baalbek. Incredible, aren't they? The trilithon stones are among the largest megalithic stones ever discovered, measuring approximately 62 feet in length and 14 feet in breadth. I mean, just take a look at this image that shows a 5'11" man highlighted in yellow standing in front of one of these massive stones. Do you see how tiny he looks next to it? It truly puts the sheer scale of these ancient stones into perspective.
When you're looking at something that's 14 feet long and 62 feet long and 14 feet high, like what is the weight of that? What's the overall weight?
900 imperial tons.
Wow. Here's another one. Now, the Post Malone AI music, we're going to have to look at that because that's a new one on me.
Love your songs just because they sound good.
Yes, sir.
But there's also people that love your songs because they come from you.
Yes, sir. I understand that. I guess the thing that I'm concerned is pretty soon you can still tell if it's an AI song, right? Now. But the way that it's moving, like, I don't know, my buddy Louis Bell, he produces a bunch of my stuff and we write together and he's the most talented, smart dude ever. But he taught me about like epochs and like how many epochs a better AI like template is. And pretty soon, dude, it's gonna be really, really good.
Yeah.
It's just going so fast. So I don't know. Yeah. But then
Post Malone, anti-gravity weapons. They're right. First off, there's no gravity.
Of a woman who was reportedly conducting groundbreaking research on manipulating gravity through electromagnetic effects and high energy concentrations.
That looks expensive.
In 2013, she published a paper claiming success in altering an object's mass, effectively changing the force of gravity acting on it. Shortly after the paper's release, she vanished for months. This led to many speculations. Some believed she had gone to China, while others theorized she was secretly continuing her research. However, it was later if such breakthroughs were real, they would likely be kept classified for national security reasons.
You know what? Because they want to go to the moon, and all you want to do is see the curve.
Soft cock again, but I'm going to say that I read it, and my eyebrows raised. I thought, that seems like a coincidence.
For context, Michael Lynch was a prominent British technology entrepreneur, best known for co-founding Autonomy Corporation, Invoke Capsule, and Dark Trace. His groundbreaking work in machine learning and pattern recognition had a significant impact on the tech industry, earning him the nickname Britain's Bill Gates. Under Lynch's leadership, Autonomy grew into the UK's largest software company, eventually being acquired by Hewlett-Packard HP for $11 billion in 2011.
Is that a lot?
After the acquisition, HP accused Lynch of inflating Autonomy's value, sparking years of legal battles. In 2023, Lynch was acquitted of fraud charges in a US criminal trial. Tragically, on August 19, 2024, Lynch passed away when his super yacht, Bayesian, sank off the coast of Sicily during a severe storm. The incident also claimed the lives of his daughter, Hannah, and several others.
That's one of the top 30? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Come on.
On the road. If you want to be nostalgic with your fancy combustion engine sports car, you can drive on specially designed tracks, akin to horse riding stables of today. Very nostalgic. The human space program will fully transition to a space industry supported not by tax dollars, but by tourism and anything else people dream of doing in space.
I think he's trying to get racy on that one. Go, Neil. Cheating death theory?
Life Extension Foundation.
That's Ted Williams. He froze his head. And then they fought over it.
Yeah, some of them, like, it didn't work.
No.
The one, like, headline was like, yeah, they were scraping goo off the bottom of the thing or something.
Yeah, whoops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like if the power goes out and you thaw out, that's a wrap.
That shit's fascinating. Isn't it only like one company or something that's doing that? Or
Imagine if you're in heaven, okay?
Yeah.
And you died, you went to heaven, you know, like, God, I'm free of all my earthly pulls, and I just feel one connected, and all of a sudden, you get sucked back to life again, and they're stitching your head on this new body, and you're alive now, but you're paralyzed. But with new technology, they can keep you alive forever.
That doesn't sound fun. Time traveling, that sounds pretty dumb.
Now, in terms of technology, what we're going to have in a million years is going to be godlike. And you're going to be able to travel.
Yeah, you got 21 years to get your life together. Time travel is not happening. AI, these are the worst 30.
Well, I'm actually considered conservative. People think that will happen like next year or the year after. But I actually said that in 1999. I said we would match any person by 2029, so 30 years. People thought that was totally crazy. And in fact,
But now we live in a time when fires start and half the football fields burn. What?
Hieroglyphs of mushrooms found in the Dendera
More-
Temple of Hathor, an ancient structure dating back to Egypt's early history.
Blue
He notes
Lotus?
that he is not the only researcher to document the presence of mushrooms in ancient Egypt, and mentions
So the
several others
movie
who have published writings
Dune.
on mushroom discoveries in this context.
So I want to give a shout out to Abdel Azim. He published this in 2016. This is the goddess Hathor, the Dendera temple. If you look this up, it gets less than 1 millimeter of rain a year. That's how dry it is. That's the vase there with these mushroom-like figures coming out, and the lower part is the blue lotus, a water lily associated with a mushroom. Now, he published this in 2016. I'm not the only one. Stephen Berlant in 2005 published this, and a fantastic individual, African-American, who died from COVID. His name was Kandiri, and from Detroit. He also believed from his African ancestry that the African Egyptians used psilocybin mushrooms.
That image is fascinating.
Isn't it amazing?
That little vase with
the
that's
next one you
clear.
can,
Now,
Jamie.
what did they try to say that is? You can't say that's a bunch of shovels.
No, but there's other ones. So
what is the conventional explanation for what you're looking at?
They said they didn't know what it was. Now,
how do they not know what it is? Bring back insane amounts of all kinds of things, titanium,
Asteroid mining, huh?
They'll find diamonds in space.
And next decade was always going to be the decade that happened to the developing world. And we find out recently that the Chinese have jumped the ship, and this is their last decade too. So all of the globalized connections and consumptions that create the world we know, we are at the end of it.
For context, China's one-child policy and decades of rapid
Wow, somehow we were talking about this last week.
industrialization created a temporary population structure resembling a column, with a large working-age population driving economic growth. However, plummeting birth rates and rising life expectancy.
Right, it's set up to fail. What's the last one? Walt Disney pointed because he smoked a lot.
Find some of those pictures because it's really interesting. Once you know that they photoshopped it, there's a guy that we've had as a tour there. Shout out to Philander. Awesome guy works there. And he gave us this sort of history of Walt Disney. And Walt Disney died.
He's
of lung
the Walt
cancer.
Disney
Which
world.
you would think it would be probably
Wonderful
a good
world.
thing to have the cigarette so people could know, oh, that poor guy, that's what killed him. But instead, they've decided to.
All right. Wow. So we covered a lot of things there. We did the Animal House, saw the hoop dancers, got all of that Tartaria mud flood situation. The pictures for today, I don't think we got through all of them. So we got this blood moon thing coming, and that's a conspiracy because nobody told us about it till 2 weeks ago. And I usually think that they usually like to market them more than that. So we also had this. This is from that video that 2 people recommended. Do you think John is still wandering around after 2,000 years? The millennial reign ended around 1776. Yes, they added years to our timeline. The camp of saints is the North Pole. It's not preterism. Well, Snoops the cat is working, and unfortunately, he's heard a lot of people talk about Jesus could be at the North Pole, and it's nonsense. So I made this thumbnail. Hey, there was a green fire in the Texas Tech. Whole campus had to get evacuated. Something was burning green, and it Texas Tech said had to get it out of there. So the police chief, the person in charge of the police at Texas Tech, here she is. She's giving the thing. Yep, we're closing down the school. She's a girl and she's in charge. Hi, Jeff. So what we're going to be doing here on campus is, you feel safer now at Texas Tech's green flame is, you know, it's Caitlin something. I don't know. That's big. It's just big. And here's the last thing we're going to look at. I know we're getting out of order the way things normally go. Hopefully you saw those pictures. Did you get to see those pictures? You were clickbaited, Alan. Usually I read these things I write earlier. I wrote this one sometime this morning. If you cannot digest your food, the truth is not being processed in you correctly. The new pestilence is constipation. I guess that's a big thing. And or loose bowel syndrome. You are called not to be a temple, but to be made aware you are a temple. In your temple, God has placed life. Those lives are as much your responsibility as your beloved dog or pet of your choice. Would you knowingly poison your dog? That's what you're doing to your body when you use genetically modified foods. I was in a land and water study of our valley here in San Luis. Somehow, I don't know how I ended up in this class on hydrography. Had a guest speaker in, and I wrote down, you know, ready to take notes. How do you gauge water or success? I wrote that down, and then I wrote down, there was a time when people were breeding to grow their tribe, grow the population. They considered that was God's blessing. The women with what it was a blessing to the women with what they wanted more than anything, to prove to other women that they were being blessed by God. How? The Bible says a woman that didn't have children was thought so much less of for all of our history, except for the last 100 years. That's Satan. Women used to want to have it. And I went on, then I wrote down, then when they grew up, they may need to take over another country. And the Bible talks about that. The Bible says that you may grow, and then if you have to go and say, take over another city, this is how you do it. First, you offer them terms of peace. You say, hey, look, we need your city. We're growing so much. Our God is blessing us with children, but we don't like your religion. We want you out of here. If you stay, you work for us. But we will have this city. And you try to do it without the killing. And if they go, our God will protect us, it says, you lay siege to that city. And we've all seen the pictures. That's our history. There was a time when this world, the people wanted children and they all were trying to serve their Elohim that was in charge of their area. And the Bible charts it out that there's only one creative Elohim, it's Jesus Christ. In that world, the last thing we'll look at tonight is the island of, what is this called? I was looking for pictures of this island. Hard. Because it was mystifying me. I guess they filmed the movie Skyfall. That's a James Bond movie. These people were working there until 1970s. This is where I think I got one of those pictures. Let's look at the Wikipedia thing of Hashima Island. Nagasaki Prefecture. They had to claim they put an atomic bomb, and that atomic weapons are fake because they were developed with fake math so that it could all be a part of one of the biggest conspiracies ever, the fact that the Bible's true. So this island symbol thing, also a reminder of war crimes, forced labor. Well, let's look at, so it's basically one of those island star forts that at one time in this spot here, here they just dug straight down, and for 20 years they dug coal, and it fueled, you saw the graph if you stuck around early, but it made them go from like 4 tons of coal a year to 30 million tons of coal a year. And that's a factory, that apartment for the workers there. Postcard. There it is, getting the coal. Thanks for the small picture, Wikipedia. So I think this one gets bigger. You can tell. Here's what they built for their apartments and getting the coal out. Something tells me this wall was there much longer and it didn't need any help. Obviously, these stones here did not need this mortar. They just added that for looks because where it it's not moving where it fell off. So this island, it just said, and then they chose it to be the location for the movie. That's what they talk about the Bible. You rebuild the walls. You built up a high place for sin, and the righteous king tore it down, and then his wicked son built it back up. So there is your idea, various views from the island. Okay. That's what's left of their coal mining operation and apartments. They mined this thing for 80 years, getting coal out of the bottom. Can you imagine how deep this thing goes? But they filmed that. I remember that part in the movie where they were on the island. That bad guy was killing people with a gun and torturing them. So to wrap it up, we saw all of their conspiracies, the ones that I think that tie into the eschatology, of course, 9/11, the JFK thing, and all of those assassinations of Martin Luther King, of Bobby Kennedy, George Wallace, Larry Flint, the guy who did the Hustler magazine. All of these mafia hits are covering the fact that the mud flood was Armageddon. and that the golden age is past. That was the name of my first website in 2016. I've been doing this a long time because it's not a conspiracy. It's the truth. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else because we're called, chosen, and being faithful to that truth because we know Jesus lives. He's coming again in the flesh, even though he is the creative spirit. At one point in time, he was flesh. He died on a cross. He was made from the earth. He was grown in a woman that was a virgin. He could walk on water. These are things that the Bible teaches, and they will be proven true to you if the truth is written on your heart. And that's why they will hate you. Because when any of them sit down rationally and say, so what you're saying is God didn't change me like he changed you. And you'll have to go, that's it. Yeah, some are sheep and some are goats. And the best thing we can do is stay away from them, because the pre-symbolism of a zombie is how much they hate you and will want to kill you. You will be the pestilence to them. They don't see the world. This is not our home. Our home is somewhere else, and it's better. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nakame. Adios, amigo.